everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ash, and I know it's been a while since I've uploaded any content, but I've just kind of been cruising around and doing whatever. So we're here, of course, to talk about the mid-year freakout tag. Now, normally I do this around the end of July, but with the way my reading is the last week or so, I don't think it's going to really change within the month of July. So we're here to answer the usual questions. So I've also added some questions from Gavin's videos as well. So I will obviously link his video down below as well as the original creators in the description box. So I think we have about maybe almost 20 questions to get through. So we're just going to dive right in because it's a bit of a long list. Alright, so I have the questions loaded up to my laptop. So the first one is, how has your reading gone this year so far? So this year I set a goal for about 50 books for the year. Normally I set it to about 100, but I feel 50 is a lot more realistic, especially last year being so sort of really more hit and miss for me. I find it's a lot more achievable. So far I'm about up to 26 books out of 50, which is obviously the halfway goal. So I'm really happy about that. It's sort of allowed me to more focus on the quality of the books rather than quantity, because I find it's given me definitely a lot more 5 stars than I would have had if I was just trying to essentially read for the sake of reading. But so far we're doing great. Alright, so next question is the best book you've read so far this year. Now, I have a couple of answers for this. So, one which won't be a surprise if you've been on my channel for long enough. The second one is a bit of a shock to me. So we're going to talk about the one that was a shock to me first. So that one is The Will of the Many by James Arlington. So this was a book I saw pop up on many favourites lists of last year, and I quite liked the premise of it, the way people described it. Now, I didn't initially expect to like this book. It's chunky for starters, but normally a lot of so this is essentially like the way I describe this is like a kind of Roman mythology sort of inspired book, but it's set in a world where we have a system called the hierarchy, but it's essentially where these tiers are built off the willpower of the citizens, and those at the very top essentially take the will of all those below. And in this one we're following an orphan called Vis, who is essentially adopted by this high up center in the hierarchy and sent to this boarding school to essentially figure out what happened to his brother. But he also has a secret that he is keeping, and he's sort of going to do that while essentially navigating this magic school. So I really loved the world building in this. I love the characters. I reckon James Arlington does a really good job of setting the world. It was a book that I find wasn't hard to follow. It was so fast-paced, a lot more fast-paced than what I thought it would be. So I really quite enjoyed this, and we do have the sequel coming out. I think it's in November this year. And I also found out that he's Australian. So this month we do have an Australian readathon. So if you're looking for an Australian author, there's your answer. And the second nomination, I know, if you have been following me for a long time now, you'll probably know what my answer to this is. But the second book in essentially, well, these two are essentially close together. You'll see why. But obviously, I had to go with The Dark Mirror by Samantha Chapman because just FYI, these tabs won't be the final ones.
Have you ever seen a psychiatrist? Because that is fucking mental.
So this was released back in February, and this is obviously the 5th book in the bonus season series, and it's my all-time favourite series of all time. You can see probably up here. Whoa! Oh, shoot. I did not mean to put... Oh, the thing broke off. I have to replace it now. Anyway, yeah, so as you can see in the background here, we have my... Oops, no, them ones. So they're the normal hardcovers, and then... Oops, I'm going the wrong way here. Special editions at the back. So this is the 5th book in the bonus season series, and this follows Paige Mahoney, who is a 19-year-old girl. Well, when we first meet her, she's 19, and she's in this futuristic London where she is a clairvoyant, and that is essentially illegal. And one day she is captured and taken to this other city, and the world essentially opens up in a way that she never expected. So this obviously was a success for me. Is it going to focus on me? No. Like I say, these are not the final annotations. I am currently working on the reading log for this. I do have the footage from my first read through, but I do want to pick this up again and reread it because these won't be the final tabs. This was more essentially me just tabbing as I read. And more... Oh, there you go. I do have my first lot of notes in there too. Like I say, this won't be the final annotations because I do tend to write in the paperback first and then do the final annotations in the hardcovers. So I haven't got around to doing that yet, but keep an eye out for that reading vlog when I eventually get around to it. But hopefully I can get that to you guys at some point, maybe in the next few weeks, because I do have time off at the moment. So, but yes, definitely, this was my all-time favourite book of the year, and this and The Wheel of the Many are very, very close. I didn't tab The Wheel of the Many because it was a library book when I first read it, so, I mean, it was great enough I had to go out and buy it, so. But yes, those are definitely two of my best books so far this year. Okay, so the second question is the best sequel you've read so far this year. Now, obviously, The Dark Mirror would come under Best Sequel, but I do actually have another sequel as well. So I was quite surprised that I really enjoyed Heartless by Elsie Silver. So this is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series, and I quite enjoyed the first one. I think I gave that maybe 3 stars. This one was a 5-star. I'm not a big romance reader either, so I was quite surprised that I gave this 5 stars. But I absolutely adored it. I think I pretty much read it within like a couple of days, but this essentially, in this one we follow, like the whole series is like a family of cowboys, but each book follows a different, obviously the characters are similar, but we follow a new couple each time. So this one we have Cade and Willa. I love the dynamic between these two. I reckon it was really, really fantastic. I love especially Willa's sassiness. I quite enjoyed that. I did not expect to love this as much as I did, but I definitely will be picking up the rest of Elsie Silver's books. I did buy I think I've owned all the current books in this series at the moment. But yes, I really, really did enjoy this. Oh, another sequel that I quite enjoyed is the final book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, which was Scythe and Sparrow. So this, I kind of didn't really expect to have high expectations, because the first 2 books I only really gave 3 stars, because although I loved the themes of it, the plot I really didn't care. This one I read essentially in a day, and it was probably one of my first, actually it might have been my second 5-star read of the year, and that was really surprising because like I said, I only gave the other 2 books maybe 3.5, so that was quite surprising. So this was another sequel that I quite enjoyed as well. Alright, so the next question is best new release that you haven't read yet but are excited for. So, new release. Off the top of my head, I do want to start The Shadow Bride by Shelby Mahone. That's probably the next book on my list. It's not here at the moment, it's out in the lounge room, and I'm not going out to get it. That's probably one of the main ones I do want to pick up in the next while. What else haven't I picked up yet? I was trying to think, what else have I bought? It's a new release. Oh, I suppose it's this one, So, Love Unleashed by Melanie Sawad. So, this is this is the book club pick for the Aussie Readathon for this month. I don't know too much about this. I know this follows a woman called Bryn who essentially leaves Brisbane to, I think it's like, she goes to, work in a fashion house? Yes, so she goes essentially to work in a fashion house in New York City, and it's a romance book. That's pretty much all I know about this. I do hope to pick this up in the next couple of weeks or so, but we shall see. Romances this year kind of been a little bit hit or miss for me, but we shall see. Like I said, I loved Heartless, so hopefully I love this one too. Okay, so the next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So, off the top of my head, I can think of 2 at the moment. So, the first one is the 4th book. Is it the 4th book? No, sorry, the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series. I'll have it on screen. I think it's The Impossible Fortune. I can't quite remember. From what I remember, this comes out in, I think it's October, November sometime, I'm pretty sure. And the only other one I can think of is The Cocktail Diaries by Sam Heughan. So this is essentially a book that he's put together with some of his favourite cocktail recipes. And, if Jamie from Outlander is given cocktail recipes, then I'm all for it. So they're probably the two that I can think of the most that I'm excited for off the top of my head. Okay, so the next question is the biggest disappointment of the year. So these books weren't essentially... I have a couple for this one. So I might talk about the one that I do own, which... so this wasn't a massive disappointment. It was more of I wanted more. And unfortunately, that happened to be Wandering Wild by Lynette Noni. So this wasn't a bad book by any means. I think my expectations are a little bit too high, and that's probably why I didn't enjoy this as much as I thought I would. Don't get me wrong, I love the rest of Lynette Noni's books. I love her writing style. The thing I had with this one is it's probably... Because I think I rated it 4 on Goodreads, but I only gave it like a 3.5. Now thinking back to it, I'd probably reduce it down to a 3 overall. That's probably the lowest I'd go to. Mostly because... So, I think what let this book down for me the most was... So we had... It's not a spoiler because it's literally on the book, but... So essentially this follows Charlie and Xander, who are thrown together in this essentially wilderness show, but there's an incident where essentially they're left on their own, and I think it took so long, a bit too long to get to that certain part of the book. Like, I think I was maybe about halfway through and it hadn't happened yet, where they essentially had to wander off on their own, and I'm kind of like, okay, like, I was kind of expecting that to happen a little bit earlier than it did. Well, sorry, a lot earlier than it did. So, yeah, so although I'm still going to keep this because it has sprayed edges, first of all. Maybe I don't know, it's disappointing because I love Lynette Noni so much. I've reread all of her other books. Oh, apart from The Prison Healer, I probably do need to reread that trilogy, but... yeah, this was just a little bit disappointing for me. That doesn't mean I don't discourage you from picking up. I saw quite a few people who loved this. I just, unfortunately, it wasn't the 5-star material I was looking for, which was disappointing, but it is what it is. And probably the only other one was a book I DNF'd recently, which was Bad Eater by Kylie Baxter, I think. Yes. So this one essentially follows a Chinese girl who her sister was pushed in front of a train, and this is also set during COVID as well. So I didn't really know that going in, but not that that was a deterrent for me. I just find it... I think I found this book a little bit... I don't think I was expecting it to be like a ghost story, because that's essentially where I DNF'd it. Was essentially that's the part I got up to. It had ghosts in it, and I was kind of thinking, because this girl essentially was traumatized by the death of her sister, and she's now, you know, when we meet her again after the prologue, it's, you know, she's now this crime scene cleaner cleaning up these murders, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like we were going anywhere with the pages I did read. So unfortunately this was a DNF for me, and it was really disappointing because I didn't want to like it, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Alrighty, so the next question is your biggest surprise of the year. So I have a couple. Will be repeating myself too. So the first one I have mentioned before, and that was of course Scythe and Sparrow by Ben Weaver. Like I said earlier, I enjoyed the first couple of books, but they were just eh. This was probably one of my first 5 stars of the year. I really enjoyed this. I read it cover to cover in less than a day, and I think these were probably my more favourite characters out of the whole trilogy. I loved, what was it? Finn and Rose. These two, I absolutely loved how they were brought together and sort of how the events unfolded a lot more than the previous books. And I know the characters are intertwined as well, but I was a bit confused at the start too, because I remember thinking, well, hang on, because we were reading obviously from Rose's perspective. I'm thinking, wait, when did she turn up? And it turns out I had to go back and have a look in the first book, but she was a character. I think I'd forgotten it because, you know, the previous 2 books were a bit meh. But I really, really did enjoy this, and it's, like I said, one of my first 5 stars of 2025. The other one I was quite surprised by was a romance book, and that was Funny Story by Emily Henry. So this was a book that popped up in Katie Colson's Best Books according to BookTube of last year. So I was kind of eyeing off some Emily Henry books to start with, but I wasn't really sure where to start. But her video where this book came in second essentially sold me on reading this. So in this one we follow Daphne and Miles. So Daphne has essentially been dumped by her fiance because he got back together with his ex-girlfriend, who just so happened to be Miles's girlfriend. Yes. So her fiance went back to his ex-girlfriend, who was Miles's girlfriend. It's very confusing, but so I really enjoy this. I find Emily Henry does characters really, really well. Daphne was, her character was so well done, and I loved Miles as well. They were right when they said this reminds them of Nick and Jess from New Girl, because I'm like, oh yeah, because Daphne's very like, okay, we're going to do this, and I've got my plan for such and such, and Miles is just like, yeah, we'll just go with the flow, everything's fine. But yes, I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm definitely going to pick up more Emily Henry books. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know down below which book I should pick up next by her, because I really, really do want to read more of her books. Okay, so the next question is new favourite author. Now, I probably would go and repeat myself again. I definitely have to say Elsie Silver. I really, really want to pick up the rest of the series, especially this one. And I've also heard good things about I think it's like the Wild Love. I know the first book's Wild Love. I can't remember what the actual series itself is called, but I love these books. Like, even though they're romances, because normally I'm not a big romance reader, but I really, really enjoyed the characters in this. And this was another, I think that I gave this 5 stars as well, but this book was definitely, this made me like the kid, and I usually don't like kids in books. I think they're annoying as hell, but the kid was so cute in this, and if Elsie Silver can make me like kids, I'm sold, like, she made me like kids in a book. That's all I can say. Okay, so the next question is newest fictional crush. Now, normally I don't develop too many attachments to characters, but probably if I had newer ones, I'd definitely go with Miles and Cade from these two. I'm definitely repeating myself with this book video, but I love both the characters in these. They were so well done, they were so well written, and I just fell in love with them, and that's all I can say. What's this doing now? Alright, sorry, my computer's totally friggin' randomly shut itself off, but okay, so the next question is the new favourite character. Now, I am going to be repeating myself again. Oh, actually, well, book-wise, yes. Character, no. Probably, Maria in The Dark Mirror. So, she's the side character that was in, well, we sort of see her throughout the series, but she's a lot more prominent in this book, and I swear, like, half these character tabs were just Maria quotes. She made me, when I read this book for the first time back in February, I was laughing at half the quotes of hers. She's just so sassy. I absolutely love her. Yeah, like I say, a majority of the tabs in the first half of this book are her quotes, because I just love it. It's amazing. There's a reason why this book is tabbed to shit during the first read-through. It'll be interesting to go back when I do my second read-through for the blog for this, because holy shit. But yeah, she is awesome. She is everything. Love it. Okay, so the next question is a book that made you cry. Now, I don't really cry all too much during books. If I had to come to a moment this year where I came close, again, I'm going to be repeating myself. There's a scene in here, I won't spoil it. I'll leave that for the reading blog for this, because that will be spoiler filled, just FYI. There was a scene in here that, even though I knew of a certain outcome, it didn't make it any less sad. I think it's probably because I think I cry watching things more than reading things, so, but I did come very, very close. I will say, there was a certain event that I knew was coming in this book, but I can't really spoil it. I will say, it was not what I expected. I had suspicions about what would have happened, but it turns out I was proven wrong. So that's all I'll say about that. Okay, next question is a book that made you happy. I'm just repeating myself at this point.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
There's a reason I love this series so much. There is a reason. Samantha Shannon does it every time. I love it. Just read it. It's so good.
Do it.
Okay, so the next question is favourite book to movie adaptation. Now, I haven't really read any books that have turned into movies lately. I am curious to see what they do with Project Hail Mary, which only dropped its trailer earlier this week. I haven't read the book yet, but I definitely want to pick it up because it does sound interesting. So, from what I've seen in the trailer, it looks fine. So, hopefully that is the case when it does come out, but it doesn't come out till next year. But okay, so a couple of these other questions are more essentially from Gavin's side. Not all of them I'm answering in this one because some of them, like the best manga you've read, I don't really read a lot of that, so I kind of left some of those questions out as well. But the next question is the favourite posts you've made this year. Definitely on Instagram, my Dark Mirror quotes post. So I made 2 of them. I will link my Instagram down below if you guys want to go check that out. But I had a lot of fun making the part 1 for this, and I just had to make a part 2. They're so gorgeous. I probably spent a good few hours on Canva just experimenting with all the images, and it's probably one of my favourite posts that I've made this year. Alright, the next question is most beautiful book you have acquired so far. So I have a couple. Now, even though the book was a disappointment, this one, because obviously the sprayed edges are absolutely stunning. A book that I have bought, but it's not here yet because essentially it hasn't been released yet, which I'm now realising it should have been in one of my previous questions, but I'm looking forward to the next Anne Cleeves book, which is, I can't remember the title, but I will pop it up on the screen here because I got the sprayed edge edition of it, and it's her first sprayed edge as well, which I had to get. It's so gorgeous. The other one I do have, I did get this year as well. Whoops, I am just knocking shit off the shelf today. So this is the Broken Binding edition. Oof, well, hello. Just the edges of these are so gorgeous. We obviously have just the end pages of these books are absolutely stunning. And of course, they are always signed. The Breaking Binding is probably my favourite subscription service. I'm not actually subscribed to their subscription, but these guys are probably my go-to for special edition books, especially just the quality of these are so worth the price, and they are absolutely stunning. Oh, they even have the little tab in it as well. But yeah, this is probably one of the favourite editions that I currently have on my shelves because, like I said, the Anne Cleeves one isn't released yet, but that is going to look gorgeous on my shelves as well. Alright, the next one is what books do you need to get to by the end of the year? I don't really have a set TBR for the rest of the year because I've more essentially been mood reading the last few months, which I find is a lot better. I'm not forcing myself to essentially churn out content for the sake of it, and I want to enjoy the books that I read. Probably there's probably a couple I do want to get to maybe in the next month or so. So one of them is The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. This is a book that I saw Gabby read and quite enjoyed, and I ended up downloading the first chapter on my Kindle just as a sample to see if I'd like it, and I quite enjoyed the first chapter of this, so I am really excited to see what they do. Probably don't really think there's any other books I really want to get to. Probably if I want to be specific, probably the rest of the, I'm not going to bring them down, but up here I've got the other Nevermore books by Jessica Townsend, because the 4th book only came out just recently as well. I've only read the first one, so I need to get my ass in the gear and read books 2 and 3. I probably need to reread the first one as well, because it's been a while since I've picked that up. But yeah, they're probably the ones off the top of my head I can think of at the moment that I probably really do want to get to. Yeah, that's pretty much all that is for that question. Alrighty, so we're up to, what is your favourite video that you made this year so far? So I haven't made a big amount of videos. Probably the one I'm most proud of, which I have made, was my Beginner's Guide to Aunt Clee's video. So that was an idea I had, well, late last year, but I never got around to doing it. And this year I decided to take the plunge, and that was my first video I put out in that series. And it's probably been one of my most popular videos as well, especially because it's actually garnered more views than some of my spoiler-filled vlogs from a couple of years ago did, and it's probably one of my favourite videos I've ever made. So the next question, I think I probably have the same answer, and which is a video you think would flop but did well. So the Aunt Clee's one, I honestly didn't expect that to get the views it has. I think at this stage it's nearly up to 400 views, which obviously being a small channel, that's to me is an achievement. Like, I'm proud of most of the videos I do. I don't really have too many videos that I regret doing, but that's probably been the one that I thought, oh, okay, it's not gonna do very well, but it obviously ended up being one of my most popular videos on this channel. So yeah, that's probably my answer for that one. Alrighty, and the last question is, any upcoming videos you're excited to make? So, as previously stated, I am, well, so I should say I have, Jesus, I've got a pile of books here, and I don't want to knock the tripod over. Like I said, I am still working on the reading vlog for this. I did film my initial reaction to the book, but I do need to go back and go through these annotations again, because there probably are some that could be taken out, and some that don't probably really need to be in this book. Like I say, this was the tabs during my first read through, so there could be characters that I tabbed that I thought, okay, they might be important, and they weren't, so that's probably an unnecessary tab that I'm not going to use. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. I essentially got the footage for the first half and then kind of just fell off the wagon with, I just didn't want to film a whole lot of stuff as well, because work's just been busy and vice versa. So but yes, definitely keep an eye out for that. I will get it up this year, I promise. I will get it up this year by the end of the year. That's my main goal for the end of the year, get the reading vlog for this up, and hopefully get it out to you guys in a timely manner, but we shall see. Okay everyone, so that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments some of your answers to these questions. What has been your favourite book? What's been the worst? Let me know down below. I would love to hear it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would love it if you did. If you did like this video, please do give it the thumbs up, and I shall see you guys hopefully in the next video coming very soon. Bye.
Goodbye forever, you factory reject dildos.